Hello and welcome to my vlog. I have just spent 20 minutes recording a vlog and I realized that I had the wrong input device set on OBS, on the Open Broadcasting software, or Broadcaster software. So it was very quiet, and by very quiet I mean it was completely muted. And that sucks. So today I wanted to introduce you to an application I've been working on. So this is vlog 19, which means that it's actually the 20th vlog. I started with vlog 0. And today I'm going to be talking about my development stuff. Last month, there was a developer on Twitter that mentioned that he wanted to do like a 3-day remote hackathon, and we put together a Discord server, and we had like 100 people join, and we all kind of hacked on a few we all hacked on like some kind of an app or a product or something for 3 days, like right after Christmas, right before New Year's. And this is kind of the result. So I've been for years talking about a photo manager app I've been wanting to work on. If you've watched any of my vlogs, and I'm pretty sure you probably haven't, because they're not really a popular part of my YouTube channel. So yeah, if you've been following that, you might have heard of it before. And so the idea was to build a product that works very similar to like Facebook My Memories and Time Hop and Adobe Bridge, and so and put the kind of all together into like a nice seamless app experience. And that might seem like a lot, but when I talk about Adobe Bridge, I'm talking about mainly like photo exploring capabilities and tagging capabilities, not necessarily the entire suite of stuff that you can do with that product. And when I talk about like Facebook My Memories and Time Hop, I'm talking about being able to query against your images the way you would with any other data set, with kind of pre-built queries for you in the application. One of them being, what photos did I take on this day over the years? So like, if it's like Christmas Day or something like that, or New Year, I don't celebrate Christmas, so I guess that doesn't matter to me. But New Year's Eve, that's something I celebrate, right? New Year's Day or whatever. It'd be nice to see like over the years the different pictures that I took on New Year's Eve. So without much further ado, I wanted to show my app. I had it running, and there we go. And it's gonna load up, and I can show you all the capabilities of it. The cool thing about this app is that I heavily invested into the developer experience. And developer experience has mostly been like the thing that keeps me away from working on my own products. Unless I have a simple npm start and dependencies that are very, I want to say, stable, I have a really hard time working on stuff. Because when I come back, I want to update stuff and everything breaks. I used mostly dependencies that I'm used to and that I know that are going to be pretty good and are going to be pretty stable. I updated to the newest version of Electron. I think they're coming out with Electron 5 soon, so hopefully it's not going to be any crazy changes. But outside of that, I even have like linting figured out, and I'm using Prettier for code formatting. I'm just really heavily invested into making this a stable thing and a long-term product to work on, which has always been an issue for me. But this is what it looks like. This is I'm using Font Awesome 5 for this icon here. I'd like to make a logo at some point, but this is what it looks like. I don't have the photo today implemented, which is like the most important feature, but I do have the photo indexing. So you can actually pick a folder, and this is my test folder with wallpapers, and you can have Skok scan it and add all those photos into a SQLite database. It'd be so cool if, I bet VS Code has a SQLite Explorer. That'd be so cool to use that. But anyway, so it gets added to the database, and then you can view all the photos in the gallery. This is the second time that I'm recording this video, so I have the previous photos there. I don't have like a name collision or MD5 collision thing working yet, so whenever I scan, it always has duplicates. Or like every subsequent scan scans everything and adds everything rather than adding only new photos. But this is my little gallery here. I'm pulling the images straight from the desktop or from the computer instead of like creating thumbnails. That's going to be like my next project, is thumbnail generation. It turns out when you're trying to load like 30, I don't know, 20 megabyte images, it doesn't really work well in Electron or anywhere else. So it's a good idea to generate thumbnails. And then I have like this nice little just preview of the image where it tells you where it's at, the size, when it was created, and the name of it. I want to add a few more statistics about it. I think it'd be really nice if I could have a button that opens the file location, or a button that copies the image into your buffer, or your clipboard, whatever you want to call it, and so on. I do have a couple of actions I'm working on. One of them is deduplicate. This is going to identify all the duplicates, and you can pick which duplicate you want to keep. I've seen so many apps online that do this for you, and they're all paid, and they all fucking suck. Excuse my language. They all suck, and they're all paid, and because they suck on the free level, I don't really trust using the paid version. So I wanted to make that experience a little bit nicer, and I also have the reorganize action, which is going to take all the photos that are indexed and put them into, either move them or copy them into a more sensible data structure or folder structure. That's been actually one of my biggest goals for this app, has been scanning photos, being able to run queries against them to display them in a gallery somehow, having the photo of the day, and having the reorganize and deduplicate, because those are all problems that I face as a photographer. I have 150,000 images. I want this to handle 150,000 images, and I want to be able to deduplicate, because sometimes when I copy from my SD card, I leave some photos on there by accident, and then later on I don't remember that I already copied them, and I have them on my machine, so then I copy them over again, and then waste a lot of space. I mean, I have like 600 gigabytes of photos, which is not a huge amount, I guess, but I would rather have like 400 gigabytes of photos well organized that are deduplicated and queryable. So this is where like that time hop, Adobe Bridge, like all of those kind of come together. I wanted this to be like a nice utility that lets you do all these fun things. I have great plans for it in the future, but the way I've been kind of working on this app is without the pressure, in a way. I don't have a deadline set for myself. I don't plan on working on this every day. I literally work on this whenever I feel like it. One of the things that really encourages me to work on it is just the fact that I like Electron, and they're making a lot of changes and updates to how Electron works, and so I like testing it out. I also work with AngularJS and Angular at work, so it's kind of nice that I have an outlet for working with React, and so the entire front end is built with React, and the back end is TypeScript Electron. And that works pretty well together. I don't really like that. I created a really cool library for facilitating communication between the front end and the back end. If you've worked with Electron before, you'll know that you don't just like send an HTTP request to a server. You can spin up a server, but I'm always worried about doing that because I don't want to take up a port on somebody's machine. There are some apps that I've used in the past that do that. I remember Skype used to do that like 10 years ago. It would take up port 80 and then you wouldn't be able to start WAMP back in the day. And that sucked. And internet was full of, here's how to kill Skype. Here's how to make sure that Skype doesn't take port 80. And I don't want to take up any ports. So this is communicating, the front end and back end are communicating using IPC. And what's cool is that, so I created this pattern that kind of mirrors HTTP in a way. I have a global listener on each side for messages, and whenever you register a new route on the back end or register a new action that you want to listen on, the library will route that message to that specific handler. And on the front end, you have a really easy way of just sending messages where you say action route on data, and I'll show you what that looks like. So if you want to like index photos, let's see. I wrapped everything in promises, and it did some initial stuff for errors, and I even have logging on the back end so I know which messages I'm sending and receiving. So you can just send this message. With the you'll say that it's a post. I think that's kind of like extra. I don't need to really do it, but it kind of informs, if I'm purposely sending data to do some kind of an action, or if I'm just getting data back. So I like using the post and get and delete and stuff like that. Then I send the route and then the data, which is just the path that I really need. And then when that request gets fulfilled, so it gets sent into the transponder. Transponder does this whole thing, and what it'll actually do is it'll generate a UUID for that message, and so that when the backend gets the message, it can respond directly to that to the requesting function or whatever, right? So whenever we send the message back from the backend to the front end, the transponder will check the UUID, and it'll check if there are any unfulfilled promises for that UUID. And if there are, it'll just go ahead and fulfill them, resolve them with the data that it gets. The really cool thing about that kind of pattern is that you already saw that on the back end, it's really easy to ask for data. Let's see, I have a gallery route. It's really easy to just send requests to the back end. And because I know that it's always going to be routed from to the right handler, and from the handler back to the right requesting function or requestor, whatever, I don't have to worry about that. And because it's promises, it makes everything much easier than callbacks, and just allows you to do the stuff that you want to do with it the easiest way. On the back end, it's pretty easy to register a route. It's kind of express-like in that you just do com.register and you say that it's a get and this is the route. And I always expect that it's going to be the callback is going to be a promise. So I'm able to do that and fulfill that promise and everything. And again, you do just rest.send. You don't have to worry about routing, making sure that it gets to the right handler, UUIDs, and the library takes care of it. I hope to open source it one day soon. I've just been really enjoying how simple it is. And so that makes it easier to add features. And again, that's one thing that really helps me focus on the development and encourages me to develop. The less I have to deal with stupid stuff, the more I'm willing to work on the more important stuff, if that makes sense. So that's been nice. I hope you kind of you enjoyed this little walkthrough of this app. I don't really have much else to talk about this. I hope to release an alpha in the next few months. I'm not super, I don't feel super constrained by that. I don't feel rushed. I'm just really enjoying working on this. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed my vlog, and I will post another video at some point in the future.